In today's video, I'm going to be making my first youth bat, but not only that, it is going to have a torpedo barrel. So a guy reached out not long ago asking if I could make youth bats, and I told him of course I can, but he said I want a torpedo barrel on there, and I said I could do that for sure. I'm not sure how practical it's going to be, how much it's really going to help a youth player, especially one that's developing. But if he wants a torpedo barrel on a youth bat, I'm going to give him a torpedo barrel on a youth bat. So in this video, I'm going to be doing that. So the difference between a youth bat and a regular bat is really just the size and the weight. So a regular bat for, let's say, a high school guy, college guy, even the pro players is going to be somewhere in between 32 for a young high school kid, 32 inches for a high school kid, up to like 34, 35 for an MLB guy. Most high school players are using bats that are probably 33 inches, somewhere in there. And they're usually around drop 3 ounces, so about 30 ounces for a 33 inch bat. Youth bats, on the other hand, are much shorter, and you try and take as much weight out of there as possible because these kids just can't get heavy bats around. So today's bat is going to be 29 inches long. I'm going to do my best to take out as much weight as possible. Let's see how much weight we can get out of there, and let's get into shaping this bat. All right, so after some shaping and some sanding, we are left with this. So as you can tell, it is short. It is a little bat. So all I did was I took the dimensions on the torpedo bat that I would usually do, and I just kind of modified them to fit this this length. So it does look a little thicker in the handle, but that's just because I had to shorten everything down. The handle couldn't be as long, so I had to get the barrel, in here instead of out here. So I'm real happy with the way that this turned out. I think that the torpedo barrel looks good on this. So we are going to do something a little different on this one, and that is we are going to stain it instead of paint it. So we are going to use a black cherry stain. It's going to turn out fantastic, I hope. So let's get right into staining this one. All right, so we are back on the lathe to stain this one. So now when I stain, you can either use a brush, usually a sponge brush, or you can just use a rag. I prefer to just use the rag just because it's a little easier for me. You just kind of dip it in there, spread it out. It turns out great. So unlike painting, I am not going to turn on the lathe when I finish this or put stain on this. I'm just going to kind of do it by hand, rotate it as I go. As you can tell, I tried a few different stains. I think this one was called red mahogany. We decided not to go with that one. This one is called black cherry. That is the one we are going with. So we are going to put a couple coats on this. I got it sanded down real fine, so let's put some stain on here. I think that looks really cool. So we're going to give it a few seconds to dry here, and then we will wipe it off. Just a tip, if you do this, maybe wear gloves. I completely forgot about wearing gloves. That's a stupid mistake by me. I will definitely make sure to wear them on the next coat. All right, so I debated whether I was even going to show this, but I think it's important that I show you my mistakes too, not just the bats that turn out cool. So although this bat is going to turn out cool, there is a little bit of an issue, and it is self-inflicted. So the color looks great. I really dig this color, this kind of red hue that it gives off on this bat. I think it looks sweet. But you probably noticed while I was putting on the stain that I may have been a little lackadaisical in the last step, and that is sanding. So as you can tell on the barrel there is some marks in there from sanding that I did not quite get out. So I'm a little disappointed. There's one big one here, and there's 2 on the barrel here. So that's just laziness on my part. I should have took the time to really get this looking good before I put stain on it, but it is what it is. That's how we did it. So now I get to sand some more. So I'm going to sand those out and then re-stain That way it all looks really nice. So those are bugging me. Got to get those out of there. But you know, things happen, and next time I'm gonna take my time sanding down. That dark spot was right in here, so I sanded it down, got the stain off of there. I did a little bit of sanding on the whole deal just so it can take some more stain in, maybe even it out just a little bit. But I got a glove on this time, and let's put some more stain on there. Happy with that. That dark spot was right in there. It is completely gone now. So I'm gonna let this dry for just a few seconds, and then I'm gonna get a clean rag and wipe it off. So it turns out that was not enough coats, and I did one more, but this time instead of letting it sit for like 30 seconds, I let it sit for like 5 minutes, maybe closer to 10 even, to really let it soak in before I wiped it off. And after that, I was left with this. So I think that it turned out really cool. I think that it seeped in there real nice. We applied even coats, so it came out pretty even. We got that mark that was right in here out. We got the one in the handle that was right up here out. So I'm real happy with the way this turned out. We're going to use a gold logo on this one, really complement that red quite well. So let's get right into adding that logo. All right, here we are at the lathe to put on the decal. So usually I would put on decals at right around 18 inches, maybe a little bit further, 18.25 if I have two-tone bats, but because this bat is so short, it is only 29 inches, I think we're gonna put it right here at 16. That way it gives the barrel some room to, you know, be a barrel, and it'll split the bat nice. So we're gonna put it right here at 16 inches.
Hopefully.
And that gold looks really nice on this red stain. All right, so now that we have the decal on there, it is time to add some finish. So I am just using this poly finish in the spray. It is a water-based poly, and it's a clear gloss. It comes out pretty high gloss. I really like it, and I think it's gonna really make this grain pop on this bat. So let's put a first coat on now. The poly is done drying. I have cut off the ends, I stained the ends, and we are left with this. So as you can see, it looks really short with the ends cut off, but that's what it's supposed to be. It's a youth bat. So the grain on this turned out super cool. This stain just looks amazing on this bat. I really, really dig the red. So I think the gold logo looks really cool in there. It complements it really well. Here is the end of the knob, and I did cup the bat slightly. It's a very light bat. I was able to get it down past a drop 5, which is pretty nice for a wood bat. It's very difficult to take a lot of weight out of these bats, but since I started with a fairly light blank, I want to say that the blank was only like 78 ounces. I was able to slim it down quite a bit. And get it real light for them. So I'm super happy with the way this one turned out. The torpedo barrel looks really cool. The guy that I'm making this for said that he can't find youth wood torpedo bats. So it's pretty unique, and I hope that he likes it. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for sticking around. If you could leave a like, I would really appreciate it. Maybe even subscribe if you do like this content. Thanks again if you made it this far, but that's all I've got on this one. Thanks.